Haha.
Live.
Oh my god, that's fancy.
I had like
Oh
the
baby.
starting soon screen on.
Right.
Are we good?
Yeah, we're
Yeah,
live.
yeah.
Where am I getting that echo from?
Is it me?
Do you have headphones?
No.
Okay,
Headphones?
the echo might be. Do you hear the echo now? Weird.
Ba-da-ba-bop. No.
No.
Oh, no, I heard it. Oh,
Hmm.
no, we're good. We're good. Okay.
All good. I know.
What's up,
New
bitch?
streaming platform, so.
I should put on a cute outfit, so I'll just step out of frame and mute.
Oh, we're having a quick change.
Oh man.
Oh my.
It's an adult platform. We can do anything we want on here. And that's why we've made the transition from twitch.tv.com to twitch.tv.com. I'm a boomer. To kick.com in the hopes of, who knows, maybe people will watch us over here. I don't know.
We'll be the resident.
It's still in beta. We're acting
Yeah.
like hipsters. Wearing the
Getting
black
in.
craft like it's 1999.
Getting in on the ground floor. It says we have 2 viewers, so look at us. We're fucking.
It always says you have 2 viewers. I don't know if it's actually 2 viewers or it's like the Twitch, like where it tells you have a
It's
viewer.
fine.
Like, shh.
2 viewers.
Would they
Sophia's
do that?
Gonna... What?
I said, would they like lie about your viewer count, like give you like more than what you have?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, but
No.
Place
no.
never really pads your numbers for you.
No,
I mean, I think
it's
it's
just a
pretty
conspiracy
accurate.
theory.
I mean, I think I count.
Maybe.
I don't know. I think I count as a viewer because I do have it open in a tab in Chrome.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Oh,
But
you
there
do.
is one
Yes, you
other
do.
person though.
Right. It does. Yeah. It doesn't
Hello,
count
other
the If
person.
you just have the dashboard open, it doesn't count the dashboard.
Oh, it doesn't count the dashboard. So no, there
doesn't
are
count the
legitimately
dashboard.
2 people viewing. So hello, 2 people viewing. How are you?
Oh my goodness gracious.
Hello.
Sophia
Welcome
back
to
with the
Witch
quick
Betwixt,
change.
motherfuckers.
Seriously.
I feel like I need like we need like a dollar bill, like split like emojis or something like screen for all
Well,
of
you set
Sophia's
that.
quick
You
changes.
can set that up in Streamlabs, where
Yeah.
anytime somebody donates
Which
to the
I was
Ko-fi,
trying to do.
pops a
My
GIF.
mom called me and totally derailed me from everything I was trying to do.
There's my
Oh, Scott, you're up in the
response.
left now.
Hi.
Yeah, because they
Thank
turn their
you.
camera on.
All right, so
that's
now
fine.
I'm just gonna switch everybody.
Look, I'm gonna
Name label
reframe
around.
myself.
Like the Brady Bunch here, everyone's
Oh, hold
different.
on. I hear cat noises.
Now Vogue.
Oh.
I literally got an ice pack sticking in my pants, Scott. Like I feel like an old lady. Like we just had such a good Friday night. I'm still recovering. Like I feel you. And the fact that you joined, I'm so proud of you. Because I'm feeling it.
I'm just like, I need to go not
To
socialize.
sleep.
Yeah.
For like
This is
3
like,
years.
God. Oh, it's okay. Also, my hair is down. Don't know why.
Ooh la la.
Ooh la la.
I know.
Sophia, you're talking, but you're not lit up, so I think you're muted somehow.
What happened?
I was muted. Yeah.
Yes, you were
Oh.
muted.
So
I
if
saw
we're
your
on
mouth
a new
moving,
platform,
but I was not hearing.
Thanks. If we're on a new platform, we should introduce ourselves and what the podcast is. In
Yeah, I
case
mean,
we got new viewers, you know.
It is episode 110, right? So it's a nice solid number to maybe do a little reintroduction of everybody. But yeah, this is Witches Betwixt. We've been doing
What is
this
that,
for
Gwen
110
Stefani? Let
episodes.
me reintroduce myself.
Is that Gwen Stefani?
Yes.
Oh, is
Yes.
it?
Yeah. She wants to just like
B-A-N-A-N-A.
pretend she didn't do that Harajuku era.
Oh, really? I enjoyed that era. It was a
Mm.
cute train wreck.
Just
The most adorable
like
train
ours
wreck
was
I've
too.
ever seen.
It was pretty cringe. Not going to lie.
Well, I'll never forget how to spell
Yeah,
bananas.
I'm Sophia.
Thanks to Gwen Stefani.
Check out my pins.
Yes, this is Sophia. How would I introduce Sophia? Sophia is our resident goth queen. Provides
I'm a
the.
resident. Just go ahead.
I was gonna say she's our goth queen. Miss Kingster herself. Flaunting that chaos magic everywhere she goes. Glitter bombing, glamour
At this
bombing.
point, it's Omnimancy.
And Omnimancy, yeah, that is kind of your latest flavor of magic. And
It's also kind of getting back to my roots. Yeah.
and you will never see Sophia live on this podcast without a full face of makeup. It won't happen.
He's not speaking lies. I will either have my camera turned off or I
Yep.
will be hot. There will be no in between. It is
There
a
is no in
fucking pure
between.
binary state.
It's almost like I don't know if you intentionally do glamour magic, but you look like a person that does glamour magic.
Look, if you've seen my altar, it's a fucking boudoir, and I've been working with it since I came out as trans, essentially. And all of my transition makeup has been practiced in front of that mirror, basically. So you could say I sculpted.
And it's actually very funny.
Like from marble.
If you listen
I turned
back,
pretty not marble.
If you listen back, if you go back to like some of the first episodes of the podcast, I think Sophia jumped in around episode 10, I think, somewhere around there.
Mm-hmm.
But if you go back,
I'm
to
100
the early...
episodes deep now.
Yeah, you are. Yeah, this is your 100th episode. I do think it was like episode 10 or something like that.
Yeah, I really think you're right, actually.
But yeah, we sound like totally different people, me and Sophia. If you go back, you get to hear Sophia's voice pitch up and mine pitch down, so it's kind of funny. We balance each other.
yeah. And we grow as people. That's like a fucking several. I keep hearing cats getting into shit. That's like a several year journey, though.
Cats are always getting into shit and behind.
Do you live with cats? If yes, prepare to have shit wrecked.
Yes.
Oh, they're just eating.
Yes. You gotta like strike up a mutual like I always say with cats, it's like mutual respect.
All of mine are sleeping right now, thank goodness.
Right?
Well, why don't we move on to Scott?
Oh yeah, so that was Sophia. It's so weird that we're doing introductions at 110 episodes in.
I know,
but anyway,
right?
so that was Sophia. So Scott was actually the one that started me and Scott were the two original people that started the podcast. I showed up at Scott's house one day with a laptop and sat in their kitchen. And so we're going to talk about witchcraft and we're going to post it on the internet and people are going to fucking listen. And people are listening. So, hello. This is Scott.
Yeah.
How would you describe yourself, Scott?
Oh, God. I don't know. Hot mess. Overly emotional. No. I don't know. I really don't know. I'm the laid back, I don't know, mom friend who happens to practice like, puppy dog tails and roots and stones and bones kind of sorcery kind of thing, I'll go grab a twig from a tree and a rock and put a curse on you.
Scott's a hag in the
pretty much.
The hag of South Philly.
I always say that. It's goals, and no one believes me.
What about you, Rue? Rue is sort of like you were there in the beginning, and then like you kind of took a break. Like I don't know, because we've pretty much like the whole time we've been together I've been doing this podcast. So yeah. How would you?
So let me introduce myself. Hi, I'm Mama Rue, and if Scott's the hag, I'm the swamp witch, and that includes plenty of greenery. And this podcast has been going on for 5 years, and me and my husband have been together for 5 years. We actually just got Matt. He's the husband. The husbando, my silent partner. No. Considering how much I talk, but he's actually the one that came up with the idea for this wonderful podcast. And I don't even know what I was before this podcast, but I can tell you I'm an NB. I use they, them, and my witchcraft branches from Kabbalistic Ashkenazi roots to I got a tattoo of what looks like the Morrigan on my leg right now that I just slapped on there because of my Celtic roots. And we have an ancestor altar that has slowly taken over about half of our house.
We need a bigger table.
We need a bigger. I've turned every surface of our house into an altar, and because of witchcraft, I'm literally standing here today. So, what's up? Welcome to our shit show.
Yeah.
Hello. Oh, I love that little bubbly noise.
Bubble, bubble, toil and trouble, bitches.
Is it a cauldron or a bong? You'll never know.
It's both.
No, it's clearly a bong. Clearly a bong.
Make like a. Well, I guess
Look, I
could make a cauldron into a bong, I suppose.
Oh, yes, you could.
wouldn't
it's
be
called
the
a
best,
gravity
though. I
bong,
don't know if we should
darling.
be inhaling copper. No, aren't most cauldrons iron or copper, right?
Cast
They
iron,
are.
I think.
So like
Yeah.
cast iron, if it's cast iron and it's got a coating, I would be okay with that. I would not be fucking hitting a copper bomb, let me tell you.
Mm-mm.
And there's plenty of
Fine.
copper cauldrons.
It's
Oh,
fine.
I'm
thanks.
actually, what should I call it? I'm actually asking for the holidays for a stovetop like porcelain like pot for
Mm.
potions. I
Mm,
find cast iron is just too hard to tend to, and it's like a pain in the ass. So I'd rather have like a really nice like stovetop ceramic,
like stoneware kind of thing.
Exactly, earthenware. Yep, I actually found a really nice one from oddly enough from Walmart website.
I'm
And I
trying
was like,
to
oh,
find. I love cast iron, and I don't mind like working with it and see it. Like it's part of the appeal, I guess, to me. Also, I'm not really like a kitchen witch. I don't really cook, so like if I'm using this cast iron cauldron, it's specifically for magic purposes. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So, I don't really care about if it's food safe necessarily. But I do.
Let
like
me tell
cast
you,
iron.
kitchen. Let me tell you, kitchen witches, all you need is a Ninja Instapot 10-in-1. And I'm telling you, that's every kitchen witch's cauldron, because you can make potions, you can roast a chicken, you can roast a head. No, you can bottle your poisons. You can do everything in one device.
Please
Ninja
do not
sponsor us.
eat out of things that you put your poisons in. From a poisoner to you. Please don't.
Oh, you just gotta change the liner now.
They'll sit there and be like, I just cleaned it out when I put poison hemlock in it. I'll be fine. Starts eating their roast chicken. He's like,
Yeah, maybe buy 2 separate devices or something.
You should buy 10 because it has 10 uses. So they run retail price $299.99.
Not sponsored. Not an ad.
Not sponsored.
Honestly, not an ad. You're muted again, Sophia. You back?
You know, it's okay. I was being that risk that we run sometimes when you gotta piss.
Yeah.
I was like, not y'all
live.
just giving bad fucking advice over here, and Scott coming into the rescue with it. No, don't eat from things that you cook poison in, Jesus Christ.
Yes, don't do that. Take everything we say with a grain of salt.
I'm sorry, disclaimer, it was a joke. I'm just gonna go back to being silent in the bong.
Oh God. But yeah, new platform aside, I'm sure most people tuning in already know who we are. I swear I didn't wear this for all the cleavage that it's showing off, but
Are you
Shayla B,
sure?
that's what it's doing right now.
Like,
Yes,
I didn't
I wore it because
intentionally
it's
do
my
it,
favorite
but
outfit.
goodbye.
Look, I don't normally have a camera facing from this angle when I'm wearing this, okay? If I'm realizing it's like overemphasizing the cleavage, and I gotta say that. But yeah, let's talk some magic sluts, because that's, you know, typically that's what people like out of us, right?
Well, I know that Rue and Scott had a magical evening the other night. And I know I've heard it from Rue's perspective, but I would also like to hear from Scott's perspective, and the two of you in conjunction. I'd like to hear about your magical night together, where you stood in for me going to go see Jinx Monsoon. Because I did not want to navigate a packed theater with a big ass boot on my foot.
Well, it was magical. Like, it was like, number one, Jinx can put on one hell of a show.
Yeah.
I literally, like, it was like a child. I was just like, the whole time. So when I wasn't like cheering and clapping, I was just like, it was just so good. It was hilarious and funny, and literally, like, one of my favorite parts, one of the things that made me so happy, Jinx, they had asked the audience if there were any straight, like, cis straight husbands in the room, and there was like 3. There was the one person that they interacted with whose name was Dan. Hi, Dan.
What's up, Dan?
And then there was like 2 other like straight guys all the way in the back of the theater, and that was it. Everyone else was queer, and it was like amazing. And of course, me and Rue were like laughing because I was like, I didn't realize that I might have to like dodge like some exes and like some people whose names I don't remember from one night.
Yeah, when you go to a queer thing at a local venue, it's like, ooh, worlds collide.
I forgot about that. I was like, shit.
I have a whole other topic we can dive into later about that.
But it was just really magical. And and there was something about too the fact that like there were so many other witches there. Like actual practitioners, like like there was one person, I don't know, actually we didn't talk to her, so them, I don't know their gender, but they had the triple moon, the goddess moon
on their
symbol
back.
On her back. Oh, you saw them too.
I saw them. Oh yeah. Come on.
And then there was actually,
I'm like,
I don't know if you caught this, Rue, but there was another man who also had like all like stones and like like multiple necklaces on when we were going into line. I literally, if you remember, I stopped you. I was like, the witches are here, and you're like, of course.
I just assumed he saw Jinx.
Now there was like another. It's like there were so many practitioners there, which I thought was really cool. I was actually shocked that they didn't talk about Hecate.
Hecate just didn't appear in the show, like herself, just manifest.
They kept it more kitschy this time, I guess. But
for the general audience.
Yeah, for the general audience. But it was still definitely like very present. It was just really cool. It was just so really cool.
I'm very glad to
I still remember.
But you got the oogity.
Huh?
So yeah.
I said you went for the boogity and you got the oogity.
Pretty much. Also, too, like, speaking of that, too, where we were, I, like, had no idea that, like, number one, I've never been to Glenside ever in my entire existence. And number one, Arcadia's campus is more beautiful than I've
fucking castle.
ever. It's fucking. I was like, why?
A very expensive.
The worst
school
part is I happen to know that they, when I was in high school, they were teaching a course on the occult. They were teaching an occult science or occult history type course. And I was like, well, now seeing it now, years later, I was like, I wish that I could get an occult course in a castle.
It looks like a mini little Hogwarts camp. Like it looks like
it looks
Hogwarts,
like a wizard school. It really does kind of have
Yeah.
like a magic school vibe. And I was like, that's so cool. And like the whole place is like really old and haunted looking and haunted actually. Because Rue and I were both
at the Keswick Theater,
and there were a couple of times where the
I need you to describe. I need you to describe for the fans, Scott, for the 2 people that are watching. I need you to describe what you said to me as we were parking. Now, Keswick Theater in Glenside, lovely old theater, haunted AF. I'm pretty sure it's been on some ghost hunting show. You can find it. It's been part of PA history for over 175 years, I believe.
When we were getting in or when we were leaving, because I had two experiences while we were up there.
When I parked, this is specifically when I
know
parked
exactly
the car.
I know exactly what you're talking about. So, Rue was parking the car, and out of the corner of my eye, I saw a woman standing by a light pole, but it wasn't the parking lot where we parked at. It was that one. It was the first one where you tried to find a parking spot and you had to turn around.
Thank you. Okay. Yes.
And I saw a African American woman whose clothes looked like to be from the early 2000s, late 90s, and she had long hair, but it, dreads. No, I don't know if they were dreads, but I guess
braids.
I guess box braids, and they had the beads, it was white and purple and yellow different beads. Like some strands were fully beaded, and she had this I've seen this top before, it's S Club 7 type of days, that kind of, and it was like a goldish sort of crop top kind of thing, like a copper colored mesh, like that weird material that's I don't know how to put it. She had a crop top and some kind of long flowing pants and
bell bottoms. Like jean bell
kind of bell bottomy,
bottoms.
but they were flowy. They weren't like a bell bottom jean. They were like a bell bottom, those swishy
pants,
material.
I think they called them. Yeah.
And the weird thing is, now looking at it, I couldn't see her face. Her face was not there, but I didn't register that at first. But she was standing right beside the car, like behind this the light pole that we were driving next to before Rue had to pull around to go find somewhere else to park. And it was so much so that I almost said, "Be careful," because
you thought
this woman was right there.
Yeah.
And and this was physical. This wasn't like me picking up on something in my third eye kind of thing. This is like she was there, and then she just wasn't there anymore. And I mean, now granted, of course, queer people probably would dress like that now, but we love our vintage, but and yes, I know, sad, the 90s are vintage now, whatever. Anyway,
I feel like there's no
yes,
rules
they
of
are.
fashion. There's no rules of fashion right now. I feel like every decade, every era is
right,
valid.
it all works. Yeah. Right.
But according to the rules of fashion, 90 is vintage because you can open a vintage shop now and stock it exclusively with 90 items.
And I'm not
anything
ready.
before the year 2000 is vintage.
Nope. I refuse to believe that.
I'm vintage.
Fake news.
Oh yeah.
Alternative facts.
But that was pretty incredible. And then the last thing was when we were leaving. Well, it was mid-end of the performance, and I was clapping, and someone went sort of passed by me, as if scooting by, and I was in there, my elbow was in the way kind of thing, and just sort of and I went like this, and of course no one was up the thing. So it was pretty intense up there. They got some ghosts.
Y'all got ghosts?
All got ghosts.
It seems to be true of most theaters, because when we watch Kindred Spirits, there's a lot of, it seems like most theaters are haunted, in some way. There's just residual energy, spirits, whatever, hanging out in theaters. Seems to be a common theme.
There's actually a reason why that is, if anyone is interested.
I would like to know, yeah. I mean, I would assume it has something to do with just the arts in general raise a lot of emotion. You're watching something, it makes you emotional.
That is a big part of it. It is. But there's also another thing that is often overlooked. So old theaters, when they opened up, a lot of old theaters burned due to how we used to have to light theaters, and how the projector machines they used oil for the backlight to project videos and movies and
scary thing.
And so all these old buildings used to be solid wood, so they would go up
that. Yeah.
And unfortunately, and this is just an unfortunate sort of just the state of what film used to be back in the day. And unfortunately, a lot of people get trapped in the buildings, and some would die. Now, I don't know if there's any evidence that ever happened up there, but it is very common for really old theaters to have burnt down and then got rebuilt again, due to that very reason. So there's a lot of that happens. So I mean, on top of the fact that also too, the thing about, like Jay said though, there is this kind of acceptance of the otherworldly and the in particular like the stage arts. Like, you know, even if you look at the history of the Ghostlight, it is specifically for spirits. Like that's what it's for. Like if you know the whole thing about the Ghostlight, it remains on all night for those who remain. It's essentially an altar for the ancestors of the arts.
In theaters there's a light
in
called
theaters the Ghostlight.
I didn't know about that.
Oh yeah, the Ghostlight.
Oh,
Let me chime in. Let me chime in as a theater.
Go for it. Take it away.
So even in high school production, Godspell, okay, even saying the name still makes me gag.
It's still
theater.
Valid.
It's still theater. It's still that, like, it was a theater inside the school, and there is always a light on. And if that bulb burns out, the most important job in the theater is to make sure that bulb is reinstalled. They put like 100-year bulbs in there so that they don't burn out that much. But yeah, it's like how like a lighthouse, it's a beacon. It's so that even if there's something like Shakespeare was an occultist and he knew that spirits could pass on the stage.
He's also a big old gay too, but you know.
And, well, yeah, but yeah, those theaters are natural liminal spaces. And I was like, the director explained it to me because it was just a single bulb that was all the way in the back behind, like it was just in a stone room. And like, I was like, I don't want to be in this room. Like, I'm going to stay as far away from this possible.
Right.
And because I started out as stage crew, and that was like, he showed me all of the backstage and everything like that. And I was like, that's a whole thing? And he's like, yeah, every great theater. He's like, if you go to the theaters in London, you go to the theaters in New York, they will have a ghost light.
Today I learned. I really legitimately did not know about the ghost light. That is very cool.
Yeah, supernatural stuff happens. But besides all the supernatural activity that happened at this show, because Jinx Monsoon herself is a practicing pagan, she has talked about it on Drag Race. She's talked about it in her holiday special. And the whole show incorporated seances and a magic wand, and her music has a very magical feel to it. Like all of the music that was performed is our own original music. And the most magical and also supernatural, but completely based in reality. I had bought these tickets back in March. I had seen Jinx Monsoon on Broadway, and I just fell in love, and she's just amazing. I came home. Literally, the first video I saw on TikTok was, "Hey, I'm going on tour." I'm like, "How are you going on tour, Jinx? You're on Broadway."
Right.
And I bought the
Busy
tickets
bee.
right there. I bought the tickets right there and then. We were in row E, seats 101 and seats 102. And directly in front of us, like we were like the celebrities of gay PA, was Carson Kressley and his partner. I don't want to say the name on live stream because you know what? You can't find it on Google if you Google Carson Kressley's partner. So Carson motherfucking Kressley and his partner sat in front of us, and my lovely Scott grabbed my hand and said, "Remember where we are." And I'm like, "You're right." And I had this calm over us. And so we watched this entire show. Carson Kressley was a judge on season 5 of RuPaul's Drag Race. He is the reason that Jinx Monsoon is up on that stage selling out a 44 city tour, having a Christmas tour, Mama Morton on Broadway. was
part of that.
directly. He's part of that, and
which is really
you
cool.
can see in our Discord, you can see on our Facebook. I got a picture, and I will never. I have look the goosebumps, the goosebumps. The goosebumps. He is a living gay PA legend, and
You're muted,
love you,
Scott,
Carson
if you're trying to
Kressley.
talk. Sorry. Scott, you're muted.
Scott, mute.
I didn't mute.
No, he muted him. They muted themselves. Discord's muted.
There you go.
It is.
Sorry about that. So
I just saw you like
one,
flailing in the back, and I'm like, what are you trying to say? You're muted.
This one, their Rue's reaction, I was shocked when I saw like the side of his face.
Yeah.
But Rue's reaction was beyond
off the charts.
I was just like, okay. Literally, I grabbed their hand and I was like, and remember where we are, we're gonna breathe.
Cannot
and then
too
I don't
hard.
know, Rue, I don't know if you heard this, but one of their friends that was sitting beside us, because they were friends, all like the two men beside us was friends with them.
I didn't even realize that.
Yeah, and the one not next to you, but next to him, leaned into his ear and says, I think they're pretty excited to see you.
Oh my gosh.
Just a tad.
And I was like, oh my god.
You see how red I'm turning?
I didn't think you heard it, but I was like, oh god, it's so mortifying.
And that's and literally you saying those words, like as two people who suffer from what we were discussing are the mental condition that both me and Scott suffer. The it's very hard when you can get triggered in a happy way and forget who you are.
Yep.
And act inappropriately in public. And the fact I was so amazed that Carson Kressley, who is a super famous celebrity in my eye, they were just there to enjoy the show and like, oh.
Yeah. I see you, Sophia. See you.
So I heard about a word for a positive trigger that you can call it. That's not trigger. It's a glimmer.
Oh, I like that.
Oh, that's cute.
That.
It's things that spur you into happiness or states of bliss or pleasure. People coined the term glimmer. So I'm like, yep, I like that. That's the currency from Destiny. It sounds gay.
That's what I was thinking of. I was like, oh, the currency.
That's amazing.
I like that.
I love that.
We talk about triggers a lot. I was like, people use the word trigger, especially like all these like right whatever people. They're like, oh, triggered, #triggered. And I'm like, do you know what a fucking trigger is? Like, you sound triggered talking about the word triggered. That's what it fucking sounds like to me, bro.
They also stole clinical terminology and then they overuse it to try to politicize it and use it against, liberal people who
it just sounds
want,
like to me it just sounds like when a parent is trying to use slang like to talk to the cool kids, like when they're like the woke left, and I'm like, bro, for real.
Yeah, fuck them bitches.
Seriously.
No, I love that. I love that term, Sophia, and I literally just rewrote the language in my mind. So yeah, it was such an experience. It was such an experience, and down in the history books of magical experiences.
Look at how good my recording station is now. It's the flag back in the background, like the ye old Trans Girl Omni days. Remember, Jay?
Yes.
It's the same fucking flag.
Sophia used to be a top tier pro Overwatch streamer in the PlayStation.
Look, I was not a top tier streamer, or I would still be doing it.
You were the top tier streamer within the very small niche trans community. Built a Nicotunes Discord server.
I guess, yeah.
There you go.
I've gotten a lot better at Overwatch. I was doing grotesque things with my friend yesterday who's high on acid.
Oh, fun. We've been like on Paladins lately. We've been fucking around.
The two of us would section entire teams between us and just take them down, and like there was nothing they could do. And they were like, "What's happening?" And I'm like 9-0, and we're playing on PC servers because they're a PC player and I'm on PS5. So
it's always a good feeling when you do crossplay with PC players and you're keeping pace, if not doing better than them, and you're like, suck it, Trebek. You come and live in your best gamer bro life. Like, what's up, bro?
Can we even use Suck It Trebek anymore? R.I.P.
Oh, whatever. Suck it, Trebek.
Oh, Alex Trebek died?
What?
Alex Trebek died?
Yeah, he died.
When did that happen?
A year or two ago, maybe?
Oh.
Someone Google it.
Been a minute. I don't know. We don't. Someone fact check us. We're too busy being podcasters to fact check ourselves.
What?
Don't say Drew
Would
Carey.
you rather it be Drew Carey or Ozzy Osbourne? Pick your pick.
What? For what?
November 8th, 2020.
Damn.
Wait, what about Drew Carey versus Ozzy Osbourne? Those are two very different types of people. That's very...
No, who's dying
Yeah, I was
next?
predicting
who's dying next? Oh, my God, I don't know. Ozzy's been through everything, man. Like, he is Iron Man. Like, he will never die.
No, he gon' die.
Ugh.
Betty White died. Okay?
Sharon will resurrect his ass.
Yeah. I think Sharon's actually just performing actual necromancy, and Ozzy Osbourne died in 1997.
She's just been resurrected. He's just a reanimated corpse.
He's just a puppet.
I mean, I've seen some of the TV show, and your claim doesn't seem disbelievable.
It's like Ozzy and his son Jack. They have this show where like they literally just sit in the basement of the house, and he shows Ozzy these like fucking paranormal videos and shit. And Ozzy, like everything, Ozzy's just like, ball lightning. It's ball lightning. Everything's ball lightning. They're fucking good.
That's because obviously Kelly and Jack are in it, and they're like, that's why they're so supernaturally inclined. My dad is a zombie. My dad is a ghost. My dad is a vampire.
They're
like,
all in on it.
Come on. They're all in on it. They're the modern day monsters.
They really are.
So,
I do love the Osbourne. No shame.
No shame. Forever.
Right.
I bought that DVD.
So here's the thing I was gonna ask. Do y'all ever get like clashes with other magicians in public when you head out?
Ooh.
Scott, I knew you'd have some shit to say on this.
I think I'll answer first because mine is sort of back and forth. So, like, yes and no. I think I find out about it later. I do a lot of.
You can hear that yappy little cunt dog outside, and I'll close the window.
No, I can't hear a dog.
No, you're good.
Like, because for me, like, I lead a lot of like public, like community. I flash every time I talk. How the
hell is that possible?
I don't know. Unless it's picking up whatever noises you're. Oh, okay, I think we're good then. Okay, I think you were making some kind of small noise that was picking up. But so the question was, do we get into clashes with other mages when we're out in public? That was the question.
It doesn't have to be like an outright clash or even a spat, so much as just like someone tries to peer in and you're like, nope, fuck off, thank you.
Yeah, I get that all the time. Other magicians, I think, are always trying to size up, suss out, I don't know, other practitioners. I think that just comes from a human instinct. You know what I mean? Like survival. Like, could you beat me? But like if we got in a fight, But for me, I think what it really comes down to is people don't know what to make of me, and I realize it's because of how I look, and I hate that this keeps happening to me, but it does. Is I look like the poster child for white supremacy. So a lot of people, I think, don't know what to make of me at first glance, and it's not until I start talking to them, engaging in conversation, that I get that that you know, people can kind of be like, oh, like, you're safe to be around.
I have a proposed
That's
solution
some
to
of the
that if you
struggle that I
want.
have, and I don't wear anything that, like, I don't wear an iron cross. I don't have any tattoos. Like, I have nothing. You know what I mean? So, but it's just they see this ginger face. What are you gonna say?
I have an
Sophia?
idea. What's your favorite color?
Black. I don't really have. If I would say if it was like an
Anything
actual
besides
color,
black. You can.
yeah, I would
Yeah.
say like
What about like dark green?
yeah, I look good in like a dark hunter forest green or like a dark maroon. Those are the other two colors I kind of go to.
Are you down with a mohawk or any kind of like punk hairstyle?
He has almost
I
no
don't
hair
really have
left.
much hair left, so no.
Okay.
I also have to go work in an office and look normal. So
fair. I was
yeah.
just gonna say an easy way to differentiate yourself from those kind of fuckers are dyeing your hair and doing a cool queer / anarchist hairstyle.
Yeah, trust me, I've tried to get him to, he's never dyed his hair. He has naturally blonde hair and it is so thin that I'm afraid that
It'll fall out.
10 color, it'll fall out. It falls out from me just rubbing the top of his head.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, my lovely hubby has that male pattern baldness gene that just happens to run in the Scots and the Irish. But and honestly, his beard is so fiery red. I wouldn't want to do anything like put dye in your beard because it's just so sensitive.
But so I guess for me, like, that's where it comes in from. And like, I always had that problem with my image because when I was presenting as female, people would be like, oh, look at this butch resting bitch face bitch, you know, fuck you. Or, you know, as I'm trying to like transition into my maleness, it's like, oh, look at this fucking Nazi. And I'm like, no. No. You get me wrong.
Look at
No
this
matter
Nazi
what.
married to the Jew.
I just but I notice it's an increasing thing that I get is a lot of people look at me and they go, ooh. So but the problem I get on the flip side is people who have those shitty ideas also look at me and assume, oh. And so I have to like really, but I'm also supposed to be like a public figure, you know what I mean? So I have to like dance. So I think for me what it comes in is like I don't have it outright like go toe to toe with people, but it does require a lot of like dancing around each other to understand that like I'm not a shitty white person. I don't know. Like that's just like some of the things that I've been encountering. But that was my answer to your question.
What's sad is that like it's not even.
Sorry.
I'm sorry. No, go ahead.
No,
Okay.
no, go.
Okay. What's sad is that it's not even necessarily like, because I was gonna say like if you could wear like, you know, something with like the like jewelry with the pride flag, the trans pride flag on it.
Yeah.
But it's not even necessarily always safe to be that, you know,
right
out on the street anymore. You know what I mean? Like you have to
because
kind
I'm
of
thinking about my own safety.
and
You know?
roof safety.
Right.
You know. Right, and it's you know, so like
You
I always
can't go
say
to
like
the bathroom in public we live in liberal Philadelphia, but if we were to leave our liberal bubble and really go anywhere else, as Jinx mentioned in their show, and if you Google, you can find anything out. As a trans guy, there's no bathroom. Just as they have outlawed public bathrooms. If he goes in the men's room, you don't belong here. He goes in the women's room, you're a rapist. Where's the non-binary bathrooms?
Telling you, there should be 2 bathrooms. One, standing room only, full of urinals. The other bathroom, stalls. Pick which one you want. Thank you.
And seriously,
that would be really
ideal,
nice.
right? Do you prefer to sit or stand?
So I want to interject. I actually have a huge thing to say. about how urinals are super ethical and how we need to create gender inclusive ones. And let me explain why. So, you know how much water gets wasted flushing stuff down toilets that doesn't need to be spent in that volumes?
Yes, urinals are very eco-friendly, very water efficient.
Yeah, the water to waste ratio on a urinal is astronomically better.
Mm-hmm.
If we had in just every fucking washroom a urinal that would work for both configurations, then also have a toilet for if you need to go number 2 or throw up or something. I'm not gonna judge. Like, there's other shit, right? Yeah.
Or you just can't stand to
Well,
pee.
no, that's what I was gonna say. Inclusive. Hear me out, though.
Yeah.
That's why I was talking about making gender inclusive urinals, right? Even accessible ones. There's no reason why, like, why does a urinal have to be a standing thing? Think about it. It's simply a basin that uses minimal water to flush down because we know that you're using urine instead of number 2, right? So you could just easily make a sitting urinal that cleanses itself just as well, and it would be accessible for everybody.
I
You
really
could just
didn't
make,
know.
yeah, why wouldn't you? You could just have 2 toilets, and the second toilet could have a bidet built into it because bidets are just better for your butt health. As somebody who uses one, like, I stan a fucking bidet.
But also, like, we were talking about this earlier too. So, like, I was just thinking about like how urinals are usually set up, and I'm so sorry if this is triggering to anyone that's like watching. We're talking about public bathrooms, yay! But like, if I was like, okay, so suppose I had the equipment to stand to pee. I don't think I'd feel comfortable using one still. I'm like, I don't want to be standing next to everybody else peeing. Like, I'm peeing next to them. Like, that's my business.
Yeah.
You know, like, I'm shy.
Yeah.
Like, what about you, Scott? Like, do you generally use a like?
I've always been that weird person who I always feel too weird to stand next to
other people.
I always like just run like right to the stall.
Right,
and,
like just
you know,
beeline
like,
for it.
A lot of guys like just find it weird.
Yeah.
But over the years, like, you know, you find out that it's yet once again one of those very queer things to do. You know what I mean? It's just something that, you know, just the queer experience in general, actually, which I was shocked about. But like we tend to just, I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's our insecurities, if it's, you know, whatever, our sensibilities, I don't know. But we tend to, you know, the only time I've ever had to do it was at a local gay bar, and it wasn't nice.
Yeah.
You know, the local gay bar that I was particularly at, and I don't want to like shame it or anything, it's historical, but there it definitely tends to have a more predatory
yeah.
You're there, the expectation is that you're there for a reason.
You're there to hook up.
Yeah, and I wasn't there for that. I just was there grabbing a drink at the time. Not that I drink much these days, but it wasn't my thing. You know what I mean? It just wasn't my thing. So I prefer a nice stall.
Yeah. Same.
I just wish our stalls were.
Oh no, finish.
Oh no, I just wish personally I wish we wouldn't have such a big gap in our stalls.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That you can see.
Like, a lot of European people are like, what is this? Like, when they come here, they like hold their cameras up to like the stall thing. They're like, why do they not actually close?
I don't know. I don't know.
There's like, where is
so
our
you can
privacy
technically peer through to fucking spy on people to make sure they got the right bits.
It's unsettling.
Or not doing drugs. But yeah, all of those things, and as part of the queer experience, yes, I always ran to the bathroom, and I noticed my brother does the exact same thing. And I'm not assuming that my brother is queer, but my brother is on the ND spectrum, and I noticed that it's a quality that is shared between both parties. We run to the bathroom, and I always ran to the bath. Like I ran to the bathroom for isolation. Because you can put yourself in a stall, you can lock yourself in a stall, and no one will. Yes, some people will knock, some people will bother you, but obviously, me being raised female, every bathroom I've always been in, I went to an all-girl Catholic high school, so every single bathroom was just for women, and you could just run to the bathroom, lock yourself in a stall if you need to cry, you need to smoke a cigarette, you need to, I don't know, have sex with someone. A
As long
bathroom
as you're in the
stall
stall, it's fine.
a bathroom stall is a great isolation
Sacred,
tool.
holy place.
Sacred, holy place, like a confessional booth.
Queer confessionals.
Have you
Bathroom
taken your
stalls.
Ooh,
Check.
thank you
know
for
what?
reminding people about that.
Confess.
I just had a
I said
really
med check. Stop. Check.
Oh.
Make sure you took your meds.
med
Click
check.
combine.
I actually didn't take my meds
Thank
earlier.
you.
Told ya.
I did.
Oh.
But speaking of that, and just for like a really funny story about like how naive of a little queer I was,
Oh.
to take everyone back, like I forget, it was in college, but I was still pretty naive. I don't like to do, number two outside of my house. I'm pretty awkward
Yeah,
about that. But
I am
like
too.
at the
feel
time
that.
I was drinking this stuff called kefir. It's like really good for the gut health. But it also,
Really good.
it helps a lot. But you gotta go, you gotta go. Well, anyway, so one time, it was like, and I always do like early, like noon to early afternoon courses or classes. And it was like early afternoon. There wasn't a lot of people, and I went to the bathroom, and I'm sitting there, and someone else comes in, and he gets in the stall next to me, and now because it's awkward, because like he's doing his business, I'm doing my business. Well, my dumbass doesn't know the etiquette, in particular of like gay like stall hookup culture. There's a whole culture behind that.
Yeah.
Now I don't know this, but my dumbass taps my foot because I'm awkward and I'm weird, but I didn't know what that meant. So unfortunately, it doesn't end there. It doesn't end there. So homeboy wraps up his business and he washes his hands, does his thing, but he comes to my stall door and he waits there, and I'm like getting scared. I don't know what the fuck is happening. And
no.
he like gets mad at me, and he says something about, I don't know, it was something to the effect of like something about like being a tease, fucking asshole, something like that. And he like stormed out. And now this is at my school, but I mean this happens all the time at CCP.
Yeah.
Not that if you're in Philly and you go to CCP, but like anybody who's been to CCP has done funny stuff in that school. But but I felt really bad, and when I found out about it like years later, I felt really naive.
You're like, you idiot. God damn it.
I didn't know.
It's the same as my dear Scott telling me that my husband has a bear smile, and it took me about 5 minutes to fucking click. I'm dead.
But it was
I'm
funny.
dead. I realized that we're both lesbians and gay men. That's
what we were laughing about. I was like, we could either be like a butch lesbian couple or like a bear couple, because I was like, you give Rue testosterone. I mean, come on now. You're gonna have a hairy beefcake, so like. And I was like, we're pretty gay, I take that honestly. It was the most validating compliment I've ever heard. So thank you, Scott.
You know what's so funny is that I've been meaning to say that. There was that picture you showed me, Rue, in the car when I was like, bear smile. And I had kept forgetting, and then you said it, and I was like, yes, bear smile. Your husband has a bear smile. And it's so funny because Rue was like, wait, bear. And you could tell it didn't load
the
up.
The wheels were loading. Them. The loading screen.
Yeah, and then it was like, oh. And then the funny part is that the way it loaded for them was I went,
I mean, there's that look.
I did the smile, and they were just dying laughing.
We are old gays now. Welcome to the 110th episode.
But I did also want to get back to the original question before we started talking about bathrooms and queer culture, which we could probably do a lot. Like we could do a whole episode on bathrooms and queer culture.
Yes.
Let's maybe not say we did.
That was enough. What we just did was enough.
Just saying. But
Magic
to get back to it. But to get back to the original question,
clashing with other
about mages clashing out on the street.
Yes.
Most of the time my experience was very much in line with what Jay said. Most of the time I think it's about curiosity. I think when mages and our wards tickle each other, we're kind of like, hey-o, you know, and you know, we feel that funny like you, and you're like, yeah, okay, what was that, you know, and you're curious to make sure that they weren't trying to do anything. And then there are
it's like
times where I'm
tipping
not
your
gonna
wizard
lie.
hat to each other, like
Yeah, it's like a so, you know, good so, you know. But other times I have actually had people who were a little bit more forceful on the psychic reading thing, the probing thing, and when I get the vibe that they're not trying to do anything, that they're just curious about me for one reason or another, I don't really have much to hide, and anything that I don't want them to know, they won't know. So I let them get whatever it is that they feel that they need, which generally it's like surface level stuff. Like, am I a nice person? Am I, like that's really tends to be, but there are other times where I've had people like, and I hate this because it pisses me off, but a lot of people out on the street, like one thing I notice it happens often is they send it through their eyes. Like just like wham, and you'll look at them, like you'll look in the eye, and all of a sudden you're like, whoo, and you get that like
you're dodging bullets in the Matrix. You're like,
well, I get that like dizzy feeling when it hits me, like when they send something at me, and I'm just like, I'm like, ugh, and I get that dizzying head feeling. That's how I know I got something on me, especially when it comes instantaneously. I know the difference between like my disassociation and like psychic attack.
Someone sending something at you.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's very distinctly different. And so when it comes on that fast without any of like my precursors, like I know when I'm about to disassociate, there are feelings and things that happen before it. Whereas like this, it's something that just like I look at them and I feel like a wall hit me, and I'm just like, ugh. And I get that, but that I think tends to come from people who are insecure.
Mm-hmm.
I think that people who tend to do that are insecure, and I mean, like, I think a lot of it too is like, as practitioners of magic, regardless of tradition or title, there's this thing about like these metaphoric cock measuring competitions where like we all want to test each other's mettle.
Yeah.
And it's just like, that's not my thing. I don't really care, how many spirits you keep. I don't care.
I don't practice magic to war with other witches. I practice magic to war with the fucking oppressive systems in place.
Right, and to better myself and the people around, like this, my station, etc. I'm not interested in which wars. Right, like I don't really care. So I mean, like the only thing I do care about is when they hit me, and then the worst part is that you know what it is too. My problem is that I'm never prepared when they actually get through, and I never like I can't like see, that's another thing. I don't practice like hitting back because I'm not prepared for it, because I don't think about it. I don't think that I have to.
Right.
And then when they shatter the simple words that I tend to just keep generally, I'm just kind of like, fuck, what did I do to you?
Yeah, you're like, why?
Right.
What were you gonna say, Sophia?
I was gonna veer off into my story of being at the goth club with this, but if you have more to say, go for it.
No. I mean, that's pretty much it. It's just I do want to kind of figure out a way to I need to figure out something that I can keep charging. something that I've enchanted myself to sort of when that happens. I've been needing to do that. Not just keep my simple words, but something that
shield wall.
specifically is designed. And I know I could do that to my own, self, but I like having an amulet to sort of just keep that
I'm
running.
big into amulets too, to have like that physical representation of
Yeah,
the
I
thing
like
put in
to
place.
have it. It helps me. And so I do need to enchant something to sort of lash back when they do that. So that way I don't. Please go on.
So I was going to say to you, Scott, if you're interested, Mnemosyne takes new students in every year, and they don't charge. All they ask is that you learn enough to be able to teach if you can complete the class.
I haven't thought about it. It has crossed my mind. I don't know if it's my vibe, but I'm thinking about it. It is on my radar. I'm thinking it is cool. So it's not like off the table.
We can talk about some more things after class. So what I was going to say about the goth club story is it's interesting because I've kind of been around the goth scene in Toronto enough to show up at shit. There's this one party called Resurrection that my friend puts on. The name won't really get you far. It's kind of hard to find shit.
It's just funny. Resurrection was the name of a church that was in my neighborhood where I grew up, so it's just funny.
It's a goth dance party with like metal music as well sometimes. It's pretty good. It's like goth industrial. It's not the queerest and it's pretty white, sadly. But there's a couple magicians, and the thing is, because the person who puts it on, who's also one of my friends, she's a practitioner herself. I'm pretty sure I know who her deity is, and if that's the one, then I work with her as well, right? So like we're on the same kind of, we don't want bullshit here, and we'll eject you out of here with magic if you're fucking around, sort of thing. And also we know the owners of the building, and we just go talk to them. And if like someone's putting their hands on someone or being a creep, and they see it in the footage, you're out for life, sort of thing. So like, it's a good place, and nobody really does anything there. I don't really get anything other than, oh yeah, that person practices, but everybody's being fucking respectful about it, right?
Now, is that goth club also like that kink club too? Like, is it the same venue? Okay, so different venue.
No, this one's a goth club upstairs. Basically, it's not even inherently trying to be a goth club. The goths have just claimed it because they like it. And the downstairs is like a nerd space with like video games and board games, and all y'all would love it. They have like everything from Switch to PlayStation 2 to old Nintendo 64 to like GameCube. Like they got you. They got the shit, right?
That's cool.
And fuck, they even carry like tarot decks you can buy, and like Magic the Gathering booster boxes you can do.
Pretty much what I want as a shop.
yeah, basically.
Literally my dream.
It's basically what you would want.
Yeah.
And you have like the goth venue upstairs, yeah.
Pretty much, yeah.
And they serve food too and drinks. But that place is chill and nobody ever really tries anything, right? This other place I went to that was the goth kink party. Oh my fucking god. I have not had so many people try and test my words in a night, let me tell you.
Interesting.
So do you like think the there was one guy.
Like, do you think it's because of all that like extra?
It's the people. It comes down to the individual every time, right? And these people weren't aware of the other event. The people that I knew from the other event, they were already on the level and they were already chill. It was several individuals that I could think of off the top of my head that I haven't seen at the other event who haven't been starting shit, right? This one guy, I got like I've been practicing with like my sight through classes and shit, so I've been getting better with it. And I often dance with my eyes closed because I'm kind of insecure about how I dance. Even though I've been told I do pretty good. And I got like this visualization of like an eye and a hand and like a sigil, and I was like, what the fuck? So I just thread traced it, or just traced it, which is where you grab the tether that links it to the magician who cast it, and you just follow it. And I followed the ping and I opened my eyes. There's a guy fucking staring at me, and I'm like, you son of a bitch. And I was like thinking about it. I'm like, that was like a come to me spell, and it bounced off my words. Like he was trying to get me to come over and like get his fucking attention, right? And he thought it worked for a second because I like opened my eyes and looked over at him, and he's like, and he like his expression had changed slightly, and I was like, there's some shit going on here, right?
Like Hocus Pocus, I put a spell on you.
But it's like he couldn't get through my words, and he didn't even realize he couldn't get through my words, so it was just like, ping, hey, here's somebody who threw something at you, and I'm like, oh, okay, let's see, let's see what's up. Then there's this other person where they didn't cast anything at me, but they had a obvious witch entrance, and then they scanned me later on. The scanning was not intrusive. I don't really take scanning as an attack. Anybody's like kind of free to just take a look. Although some people do have wards that bite when you scan, so be careful.
Like in Apex Legends, it was like when you know you're getting scanned by Bloodhound's scanner thing. It's like you've been scanned, and you're like, oh shit.
Yeah, it's exactly like that, pretty much. This one person though who scanned me, when they walked up, it was the most witch entrance I've seen in a hot minute. Like everybody was outside chatting, and it was loud, and there's like this ambience, and all of a sudden, everything just dies down. Like somebody hit the fader, and I'm like, what the fuck? Okay, and I like hear the audio dip, and then I hear click, click, click. Click at these heels coming from behind me, and I'm like, immediately, I'm like, who is this witch ass motherfucker coming up behind me with your fucking audio dampening aura so I can hear the fucking click of your boots with your charms? I can fucking see that. And as they walked by,
dramatic
everything about their outfit screamed, I'm a fucking serious dead ass practitioner. I don't need to put a bunch of fucking pentagrams on me. You can notice when I walk in, hi. And I was like, okay. And I could tell that they were kind of like trying to sniff out me for a little bit, because like they were kind of like trying to put feelers out for the crowd for a while. And then eventually they caught me. And you wouldn't expect it because I was wearing like my Alice in Wonderland outfit. So I just looked like this cute fucking blonde Alice chick, right? And then when they honed in on me, they're like, that, you're the motherfucker. And they didn't do anything about it. They were just like, that's who it is. Okay. And then they stopped, right? But we were like weird about it at a distance because we could both tell that we had scanned each other in response. And we tried not to interact, even though like it was a whole fucking thing. And yeah, there are people, there's a lot of people who like also try to put them on like themselves on like they're like big witches. Ooh, and then you're like, cool, let me do a little taste. And then there's like, and you're like, what? There's not really anything, and you're like, look, if you're saying you're really something, I should be able to at least get a taste off you. You shouldn't be coming up as a, you know.
Like I really, essentially, like when new mages kind of enter the space that I'm in, I really just want to make sure that they're safe to be around for me and for other people. That's what it really comes down to, is like, are you a motherfucker? Are you one of those? Is like what it comes down to for me, you know?
I don't even think the problem is new mages, because like she can tie their hands up magically speaking, no, I'm saying if they're really gonna fuck around, right?
Someone new in the sense of I haven't met them before. Like they could be not a new practitioner necessarily, but just a new person that I've met. Yeah.
Yeah, another mage in the wild on an encounter. You can run into some serious motherfuckers who know their shit.
Yeah. But we are at a little over an hour. Hour and 10. Has been for fun. One thing I did want to ask, and I know we're at, we're a little over time, but something to think about. So like, you know how like in Star Wars, right? Luke can cut himself off from the Force. Like he can't be detected within the Force. Is it possible for magical practitioners to truly do that, in the sense of like, so they are undetectable to other magical practitioners? Because I feel like no matter what I do,
I've seen Omnimancers do it.
Like there's always some kind of tell, like when you're working in magical currents. Like I feel like it's really hard to hide it to other practitioners.
There's
Sorry, go ahead, Scott, and I'll say what I have to say.
I mean, whether it's even in like the old traditions, we have magic for that. A lot of magic for that. There's a lot of magic to like hide yourself, like even historically, from the sight of other witches. Like we've been about that for a long time. We're like, I need to get this done without other people being able to see me. Whether it's like hiding your work, hiding your working space, or just hiding you. We've been about that for a long time.
That I think why a lot of witch wars start is people make a lot of their shit public. You know, like keep yourself a little more hidden.
First off, I always am running a cloak on myself so I don't shine up too bright. That's part of why the person couldn't find me immediately and had to spend a couple hours pinging people on an individual level to find out who the person was, you know? And in regards to hiding shit, like I've when we do scanning and we're doing astral senses and we're checking somebody's aura, I had somebody, because I asked them this question, like, can you just like completely disappear your aura altogether? And he's like, yeah, check this. And he like did an inversion, and I scanned it, and it was like just a fucking gap in my senses. Like, you know how we take astronomical data and we can tell that there's a planet moving somewhere because it's blocking the light out of a galaxy, but we can't necessarily see it. It was like the same type of shit. There was no aura, nothing I could recognize, but I could tell something was being hidden by the gap they're in, right? So like you could tell something was there, but you couldn't even access the space that it was occupying, right? And it was like some real dimensional fuckery. So yeah, it's completely doable. And most magicians worth their salt try to not project, because it's more trouble than it's worth.
Yeah, I think I spend a lot of my time trying to attract other magical people, you know, because of like all the community driven stuff I do. But I think sometimes it attracts too much to me. And
I've always wanted to actually remind you, Jay, not that I think that you wouldn't think this, but I've always wanted to make sure that this crosses my mind every once in a while, just randomly, but when you're in the public eye, and with, you know, now that we're in the age of, you know, media and everything,
the interwebs,
right, your station as you know, a figurehead. I mean, you already witnessed it when Pagan Pride Day got cursed, right? Like, you know, you were already on the tail end, and there was something about that was almost sort of like,
it was eye-opening.
Like the way that they designed that curse was to hit you and then have it fall down.
Yeah.
Everyone who helped you, and I've always wanted to make sure that you're like kind of really layering up the wards, like being a public figure in magic. Like you have to have more.
Yeah.
Because
I'm realizing that
it's
like
just
dumb shit slips through, and I'm like, nah, come on, you know.
You want me to put a shield on you? I can put a shield on anybody on this group who asks for it or is willing for it.
I welcome any of that. But yeah, I've definitely especially like with me like breaking my foot, like I've been
You're
doing
echoing.
like
And Rue, what did you say?
Nothing. I can't. I have your echo. I have to mute if you're talking. I can't. I'm high. I can't keep track. No, I unmuted because I wanted to say something.
What's up?
Now, when it comes to what Scott was saying in disguising your own magic, I've noticed that like it can. Yes, we are natural. I would say anyone who studies, practices anything like that, the old like just the old European ways, you were taught to naturally hide it so that you weren't targeted.
Right.
Because we have been getting like as magical people, as queer people, as others, we're always being targeted. So not only do we have to use our skills to protect others, but like protecting ourselves and disguising what we're doing at the same time. And I noticed just like I walked into a group of witches and not a single one of them actually saw me. This was none of the people here on the stream were involved, but I walked into a room of witches and not a single one of them saw me. And that was kind of eye-opening for me. I made a full circle around the whole group before anyone noticed me. And I'm like, oh, so I can even disguise myself from witches who know me. And that was like, I'm doing that subconsciously. I'm not doing that consciously. I'm doing that subconsciously to protect myself because I don't want to broadcast who I am, and I don't want to broadcast and bring things in that I don't want to bring in. So I think we kind of like, there is a natural inclination to disguise, like, at least for me, to disguise my own magic so that it doesn't get picked up accidentally.
Yeah. Something
I'm
to
gonna
think
mute.
about.
So
Yeah, I know. I don't know
So,
why your phone mic is so sensitive. What were you saying, Sophia? Oh, excellent contribution. No, I think we're at like an hour and 17, so I think we can wrap up here. We try not to go too long over an hour, because no one listens really past 30 minutes. I noticed on the download side of it anyway. So real quick at the end of the podcast here, I just wanted to plug, we do have a Discord community. So if you look at the show notes, if you're listening to this recorded aspect, if you're a viewer, you haven't typed in the chat, so do that now before we log off if you want to link to the Discord. We have a Discord community. It's starting to get chatty. I like it. It's been growing, and I'm very happy.
It's no longer dead.
Yes, it is no longer dead. And there is a little link. I think it's clickable if you're watching on Kick. But we do have a Ko-fi page, kofi.com/Betwixt.
We should set up a permalink.
Yes. There should be a link right that you should see it in the stream, so it should be like right there, right near Rue's face. Rue, you're talking, but you're muted. You just said something, but I heard you in my ear, but not.
Yeah, there is actually a Ko-fi link. I noticed it even pops up on my streams. I stream on MB here on Kick,
Is it
and
clickable?
it still pops up there. Yes, it is clickable. You just click on it, and it takes you right to our Ko-fi page. And
Beautiful.
we really, this guy down here is our sole breadwinner, and this is our baby, and we've been doing it for 5 years. And so, if y'all want to donate, that'd be great.
Yeah, and then the cool thing about the Ko-fi page, I think our best tier is our Hail Satan tier, which is $6.66 a month. Or you can just pay it one time. Basically, it's like you want to, whatever you want to hail, you want to give a shout out to someone, you want to advertise an event that you're running, a shop that you do, your Etsy page, whatever the fuck it is. We're pretty loose on our requirements, as long as you're not saying like, Hail Trump, we don't do that here. And we'll take your money and, just not air your hail, because fuck you. But yeah, so I think our Hail Satan tier is pretty fun. It's a good way to, support us and also get your message out as well. And we have a merch and shop little thing. So we do have some merch available, which is betwixt.com. There's a little shop there. You can check out some merch and whatnot. But yeah, that is all we have for today. I'm enjoying Kick. We got as many viewers on Kick as we normally do on Twitch, so I'm pleased personally. Got a whopping 2.
And subscribe. Don't make me slap you at the tentacle dildo, okay?
Yes, please subscribe. But yeah, so we are going to log out of here, and we will see you next week, Sunday afternoon around 2 p.m. Eastern. Bye.
Bye-bye!